Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the AC Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Of course, I'm your Arizona native host, Alden K, for episode 26. We will be talking about the Arizona Cardinals' 2024-2025 season recap as they beat the Niners 47-24 and finish the season 8-9. We'll talk a little bit about what to look forward to going into next year, and of course, Budda Baker being named to the second team All-Pro. And we'll talk about the Phoenix Suns. Still a dumpster fire 30 games into the season. Houston Nurkic being removed from the rotation. Bradley Beal coming off the bench now. And the Miami Heat are not interested in Beal as the Suns continue to get in trade discussions for Jimmy Butler. And then we will close the show out with the Diamondbacks re-signing many players to avoid arbitration with many star players. And of course, ASU football. We'll talk about Jordan Tyson, star wide receiver and quarterback. Sam Levin announcing their return to ASU for episode 26. Once again, you're watching the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And before we get into the first segment, we will hear a quick word from our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, and of course, IE Sports Radio. Once again, I'm your host, Alden K. Welcome to the AZ Sports Zone.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, big shout out to our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Vital Apparel, and of course, Seal the Deal Wax Seals. And let's get to the few comments right here. What's up, Daniel? How you doing? What's up, Taryn? And yes, you're soothing with anger about the Rams playing a... Dude, I mean, prayers up to the people in LA right now. I know it's rough out there right now. I know I always have my differences about LA. I know I bash them whenever I get the chance. And you guys know me, I'm not the biggest fan of LA, but obviously it's a very horrible situation with what the people are going through over there right now. So before we get to the first segment, my prayers go out to them. It's really rough to go through something like that. And yeah, the Rams are playing a playoff game in Arizona now. I have to watch a division rival play a playoff game in my own stadium. It's like, you know, the memes that are going to come out if the Rams win against the Vikings on Monday night. Like, oh my gosh, the Rams won a playoff game at State Farm Stadium before the Cardinals did in the 2020s or something like that. Like, I already know how it works. I already know the memes are going to come out. It's whatever. But hey, like they have no choice. They got to play in Arizona. So, and of course, our owner, you know, said yes to it because he's a yes man when it comes to stuff like that. But hey, class act from our owner, I guess, even though he's never going to try to improve the team. It's good to know he's helping out other teams instead of his own, though, I guess. It's whatever. But anyway, by the way, guys, big shout out to our newest sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Guys, you need nutrition, you need supplements. Make sure to go check out the website, getranutrition.com. And guys, use the promo code IE Sports Radio or IESR for short to get 10% off. Guys, times are tough, prices are high. Make sure to take advantage of any discount you guys can get your hands on and go get yourself some nutrition, supplements, whatever floats your boat. Make sure to check that out. And guys, of course, make sure to follow the Twitter account that I run with the IE Sports Radio, AZ Sports Zone IE, where I retweet a bunch of Arizona sports news, the latest news that come out, latest updates that come out regarding the team. And of course, I'll give my opinions and thoughts on anything that really goes down regarding Arizona sports. So, of course, make sure to check that out. I see YTC's in the chat. What's up? Alrighty. So, with that being that, all right. So you know, you guys know the drill. Always starting it off with the Cardinals. So the season finished almost a week ago. Cardinals beat the 49ers 47-24. This game was beautiful. I mean, it sucks that they waited until the final week to put up almost 50 points on a team that was injured, a team that pretty much had their backups in, a team that pretty much did not have anything to play for just as much as we did. The Cardinals demolished them 47-24, and they finish off the season 8-9. Good ending to the season, even though we came close to winning almost double-digit games this season in a way where we should have had 10 wins at least this season. But, you know, ultimately it just didn't happen because they blew so many one-score games, this and that. But Cardinals finished 8-9. I said this when I first joined IE Sports Radio that I thought our ceiling this year would be 8 wins, and well, there you go. We got 8 wins. So they met my well, not my expectations, but they met my highest standards that I set on them, I guess. So they finished 8-9. Despite not getting to where we want to get, obviously, Cardinal fans, we want to win. We got to be patient, though. If you're an Arizona sports fan, you got to be patient and you got to be mentally tough. And that's what we've been doing. We doubled our wins this year than what we had last season, and the year before that, I guess. So combine the last 2 years, we went 4-13. This year we went 8-9. So we won the same amount of games this year as we have in the last 2 years. So we are improving. We're getting closer to where we want to be. We're taking baby steps. Obviously, this was year 2 of the rebuild under the Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon era. So it was a good season. Okay, I know it says we're below 500. I know it says we didn't make the playoffs. And at the end of the day, there were games that we were supposed to win, but we didn't. The Panthers game, the Vikings game, where we had the lead until late in the game. There were so many games that we should have won, and we still managed to go below 500. But now we head into the offseason with the 4th highest cap space. We're picking number 16 in the draft. So, and there's a lot of prospects that the Cardinals could look into as well. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what to look forward to going into next season. Well, I guess this year, whatever you want to call it. And the draft is a big part of it. I know we're not picking in the top 10 this year. We're so used to picking in the top 10. This year we're picking in the middle of the pack. But obviously we don't know what we're going to do with that pick. For all we know, Monty Ossenfort could trade up, and we don't know anything about it. But there are a lot of guys that the Cardinals could use, especially on the defensive line and the pass rush in general. That's probably, if I'm Monty Ossenfort, I would look there first. We had one of the worst pass rushes in football this season. I mean, our leader in sacks this season was a guy who was picked late in the draft. So that alone tells you our pass rush isn't really top tier. Then again, Monty Ossenfort doesn't have to do it in the draft, even though it would be preferable. There are guys that may request a trade that Monty Ossenfort could try to make a pitch for. There are guys in free agency as well. But looking at this draft, there's 2 guys that I am really interested in as far as defense. So yeah, there are 2 guys that I am interested in regarding the defense that could maybe be available. Actually, 3 guys that could maybe be available for the Cardinals. I mean, I don't think we're going to be bad enough to get some of these players. But what's up, Alex and Kaiju? So the 3 guys I'm interested in, or that I think the Cardinals should look into, especially the top 3, are Will Johnson, defensive back out of Michigan. Yeah, we're not going to be bad enough to get him, but it would be nice if he fell. Jalen Walker out of Georgia. I think he could really benefit our pass rush, linebacker. So I think he could really benefit our pass rush. I don't know if he'll be there at 16. Maybe. We'll see. And of course, he had a very big game the other day, Abdul Carter from Penn State. So, and Abdul Carter did declare for the draft, I think right after the game, after Penn State got eliminated by Notre Dame. So those 3 guys are what I hope the Cardinals would look into heading into this draft. Depending on what other teams' needs are, there's not really, quarterback-wise at least, there's going to be teams that are looking at quarterbacks. There's teams that need quarterbacks. So chances are some of these guys, I hope at least one of these guys can fall to the Cardinals at number 16. If not, then, Monty, like I said, Monty could trade up with a team that maybe could get some valuable assets in return as they look forward to the future drafts or, anything like that. But like I said, we're going into this offseason with the 4th highest cap space. Even after the extension of Budda Baker, we're still 4th in cap space. So that's something to look forward to. Another thing I kind of want to talk about a little bit is the Cardinals' schedule for um, next season. So you guys know me. I'm not really one to make too early predictions or anything like that. Uh, so with that being said, let's try to get into this a little bit. Oh, wrong schedule. 2026, not 2025. So give me a second. Uh, so I do know that we are playing the NFC South. So we're playing uh, Falcons, Buccaneers, Panthers, and Saints. I don't know why we play the Panthers every year. It's so annoying. They just always beat us. I'm so sick and tired of playing that team at this rate. And we also play the AFC South. So we're playing both South divisions. Um, so that is Jacksonville, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and Houston. So I'm not going to be that guy to say, oh, yeah, this game's going to be a win. This game's going to be a loss. I'm not going to do that quite yet because we're not even, technically, the season hasn't even ended yet. We're not even in the playoffs yet. So, but those are the teams that we're playing. Obviously, we got our division rivals, this and that. And then the placement games. So the placement teams that we have, because we finished third place in the NFC West, we're taking on the Green Bay Packers, and that game's at Arizona. We're taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. That game is at Cincinnati. And then we're taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. So I might actually guarantee the Cowboys game a victory because Kyler Murray never loses in that stadium. Look it up if you don't believe me. It's actually true. He owns AT&T Stadium. So until proven otherwise, I might actually predict that to be a victory. But other than that, the schedule, I mean, our division opponents alone make it seem very tough. Obviously, Rams and Seahawks, they were playoff contenders. Niners, they didn't have a promising year, but for all we know, once they get healthy, once they, obviously make some more moves, I'm sure players are still going to be interested to go there. Depending on how they respond to a rough season after a rough Super Bowl hangover, they could be back in contention again. So we are in a rough division regardless. And then we're taking on the NFC South. I know people say that's the worst division in football. But for some reason, whenever we play these certain teams, Panthers being one of them, especially, we struggle against those teams. We struggle quite a bit against Tampa Bay as well. So, or at least the history of it says so. And then when we take on the AFC South, obviously Jacksonville and Tennessee, they're going to be rebuilding teams. So we'll see how they do. Houston, they contend every year. Then, of course, Indianapolis, it depends on the Anthony Richardson situation, how he really responds. Uh, and then obviously the placement games. Green Bay and Cincinnati, they're contenders. I know Cincinnati didn't make the playoffs this year, but they're going to be back next season. So a very rough schedule, or at least in my opinion. I think that is a decently rough schedule going into next year. So that's going to be something to look forward to. The Cardinals, if they have another good offseason, definitely going to be something to really, really look at. It's going to be interesting on how a rebuilding Cardinals team entering year 3 of the rebuild is going to compete against all of these teams and hopefully get back to the postseason where we want to get back to, and we want to get back to and win. And the last thing that I would say to look forward to in the 25-26 season is how Kyler Murray responds. Kyler Murray, next season, he's going to be in year 7. This organization has given him 7 years, if you count next season, because he will be the quarterback of this team next year. Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort both came out and said 100% he will be the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals next season. This is Kyler Murray's last chance next season. He's been given 7 opportunities now. Even though I feel like he doesn't really deserve it, there's been so many seasons where he's blown it. And granted, not all of it is his fault, but there's been seasons where he's blown it. Personally, I don't think he fully deserves it, but he's going into year 7. Assuming the Cardinals have another good offseason, he's going to have a good team surrounding him. I'm still skeptical about Drew Petzing coming back as the offensive coordinator, even though Drew Petzing is literally getting head coaching interviews, or interview, I should say, with the Chicago Bears. So fingers crossed, Chicago takes him as their head coach, because that would be funny. That would be funny. Drew Petzing does not deserve to be a head coach, by the fact that he is not using Marvin Harrison Jr. is a crime alone, and it is offensible enough to get him fired. That's another thing to look forward to as well. How is Marvin Harrison Jr. going to respond from a slumpy rookie season? It wasn't the worst rookie season. He led all rookies in touchdowns. He had over 800 yards. He only had like 50, 60 catches or something like that. For him to have 50 to 60 catches and be less than 200 yards away from 1,000, imagine what kind of season he would have if he were to get, 80, 90, maybe 100 catches if he were involved more. The franchise record is 1,400 set by DeAndre Hopkins. You add on those catches, plus those yardage and then some, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is due for a breakout year too. I know the sophomore slump thing is pretty realistic, but I'm interested to see how Marvin Harrison Jr. responds. I think he'll have a good bounce back. I think him and Kyler are really going to get that chemistry going for year two because, obviously there was a lot of miscommunication between them this season. First year together. I think they're going to clean it up in year two, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be due for a breakout year. So that'll be something to look forward to. And overall, next season, I think it's going to be good. I think we're going to have a great year next season. I think we're going to go to the playoffs. Based on everything I've seen from the drafts, from the previous drafts, the previous off seasons, if Monty Ossenfort can repeat all of that, sign some players, because players are going to be interested to come here because we are an up and coming rebuilding team with and we have the money to pay them too. Fourth highest cap space. They have the money to do it. So on paper, we should have a very, very good offseason. But then again, it's the Cardinals. What can go wrong will go wrong. So we're going to have to see what happens. But Denali's in the chat. Wild that Kyler's in year 7. Yeah, it's been 7 years already almost. Fire Petsing. Yeah, I agree. Or Chicago, hire him. You gave him an interview. Hire him. Clearly you see something good in him. Thoughts on Pete Carroll? Where will he end up? Honestly, I don't think he's going to get a coaching job, if I'm being honest. Who interviewed him? Just the Bears? Is that it? What's up, Ralph? Yeah, man, great show earlier, guys. Make sure to check out Ralph's show. He goes live. I think he went live today. I'm pretty sure he normally goes live every Tuesdays, though. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to check out his show out, especially if you're a Pittsburgh sports fan. Make sure to check out his shows. He gives some very good updates on his Pittsburgh teams. So lastly, I want to talk about Budda Baker being named to second team All-Pro. Sucks it wasn't first. You guys know me, I'm biased. Budda Baker should have been first team All-Pro. It is what it is. I mean, Budda Baker, one of the best safeties in the league. He got his extension. That's all that matters. He did have a very good season, even though he didn't have an interception this year, which is crazy. That was probably one of the deciding factors. So Kyle Hamilton ended up getting first team All-Pro over him, and I believe Marlon Humphrey was the other one. So both of the Ravens secondary players. Yeah, my bias does equal facts. Thank you, Denali. Yeah, should have been first team All-Pro. I mean, there were so many teams lining up to sign him in the offseason. Clearly, he's got something good, something first team All-Pro worthy. So, but regardless, he still made the All-Pro. Leader of this team. Really glad that we were able to extend him. I know I say this over and over again, but it's true. If Steve Keim were still the general manager of this team, I guarantee you he would have let Budda Baker go to a different team. He would have let Budda Baker go to a different team if we still had Steve Keim as the general manager, because he was just terrible. Regardless of that, though, overall, this was it was an improvement season. I'm not saying it was that good. Obviously, we went below 500, so it's not the best season or anything like that. But we improved, which is what we're supposed to be doing. We should be worried about rebuilding right now. Nobody, not even a Cardinals fan, unless you're a homer, thought that the Cardinals were going to make the postseason this year. And the fact that we were close to it says a lot of what this Cardinals team can really be come next season. So this was a successful season, but in a rebuilding way. It was a successful season. We went 8-9. We'll be back next season. I might even consider doing some mock drafts regarding the Cardinals on future episodes, so make sure to check those out as well. And the Cardinals season comes to an end. The season went by very fast. I'm not even lying to you guys. It really felt like this season went by very, very quick. I mean, but hey, let's hope for a better 2025-2026 season. I think next season is going to be amazing. And you guys know me. When any Cardinals news breaks out, I'll be the first one to report it right here on this show every Friday. I try to go live. I try to go live at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Sometimes, stuff comes up, which is why I'm going live later tonight. So, but regardless of that, so the Cardinals season comes to an end, guys. We are going to go into a quick break. And when we come back from that quick break, we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns. I feel like it's a prison sentence when I have to talk about this team. But anyway, we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns, how they are a complete dumpster fire. We'll talk about the adjustments that Mike Budenholzer made on the rotation and talk a little bit about the Jimmy Butler rumors again, because they are still going around. Man, this team sucks. But once again, when we get back, we'll talk about the disgraceful, overrated Phoenix Suns. Once again, guys, you're watching the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jen B, host of the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in live to the Show of the Land on Tuesdays, where we will cover the Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Monsters. We will also talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, Crew, Fury, and of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll also cover other colleges in the area like Akron, Kent State, Cleveland State, Mount Union, John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, Youngstown State, among others. So like I said, if you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in Tuesdays to the Show of the Land with Jen B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you with the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, big shout out to Ricky and Jen. Make sure to check out their shows. Man, and by the way, speaking of Cleveland, Ohio State, if you guys are not watching that game right now, you guys are missing out on a very big game. The score is 14-14 between Ohio State and Texas. I actually have that game in the background a little bit as I continue to talk about this. But yeah, make sure to check out their shows, not just their shows, but everybody else's shows on here. Every day we got amazing, good hosts. Make sure to check them out if you have a chance. So we really appreciate the support that you guys bring. Make sure to check that out. But all right, back to this. Oh my God. I don't even want to say their name anymore. Like, that's how much this team blows. So yeah, you guys are reading the ticker, right? They're literally a dumpster fire. It's this team cannot get out of their own way. They continue to lose. Well, they won yesterday, but it's against the Atlanta Hawks, which actually the Hawks have been looking decently. They've been looking better than the Suns lately. So I guess anything like that is considered a good win, I guess. We had 4 players in that game who scored over 20 points. Bradley Beal as a 6, I'll get to Bradley Beal later, but as a 6-man, Bradley Beal's actually looked a little bit better. It's not saying much, but he's looked a lot better coming off the bench than what he was in the starting lineup. We also had Grayson Allen dropping 23 points off the bench as well. And of course, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker scoring a 20-piece themselves, which led us to beating Atlanta the other day. So in the future, if that is what it's going to take to beat teams, scoring 20 points from 2 players off the bench, the Suns are not going to win that many games going forward. So if you look at our schedule, though, it is a little bit promising going forward as far as, strength of schedule, whatever you want to call it. We're taking on Utah tomorrow, and it's in Phoenix. That better be a win. I'm pretty sure Utah is the worst team in the West right now, so that better be a win. And then we got Charlotte again. This time it's in Phoenix. We have Atlanta again, and it's in Atlanta. And then we take on the Wizards. So we have 4 straight games against teams that probably won't be even be in the play-in tournament or playoffs, whatever you want to call it. So, and then we're taking on Detroit, which Detroit's actually a good team. Did not see the Pistons having that good of a year. And then we got Cleveland, loss. But basically, the point I'm trying to make is the Suns have an opportunity to bounce back. They are still 2 games below 500. So, so still a very bad season regardless so far, or at least it's not meeting expectations. We lost a game recently to the Charlotte Hornets by double digits, which is crazy. But we did lose to them. And listen, I don't care if our guys are injured or a guy is being benched or whatever. I don't care. It's the Charlotte Hornets. But regardless of that, Suns are currently 12th in the West right now, so we're not even in the play-in tournament. Then again, the Western Conference is very close. The Suns can win tomorrow, and they could be tied for 8th seed. We can go from 12th all the way up to 8th seed if they win tomorrow and certain teams lose. That's how close the West is right now. We still got plenty of games left in the season. We're only 3 games out of the playoffs, too. The Lakers are 6th seed right now, and we're only 3 games behind them. So with that being said, we could easily get back in the postseason right now if we wanted to, if they could just go on a little winning streak. That's all they really need to do. And they're playing easy team, or at least they should be easy teams. But then again, the Suns have not done anything good this season so far. So still a dumpster fire. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Do Suns fans, do you really think Jimmy Butler is fixing this? I don't think he can. Jimmy Butler is not fixing the fact that we have no defense, even though he is a good defender. He could play a tribute to fixing it a little bit. Is he gonna fix the leadership issue in Phoenix? I mean, sure, he's vocal, but that is what's been the problem with the Phoenix Suns since last season. They haven't had a valuable leader since trading away Chris Paul. Devin Booker, I love Devin Booker, okay? He's my favorite Suns player of all time. He's not a vocal leader. People say, I know people on the Suns are going to say he is, but what do you expect them to say? We all know Kevin Durant's not a leader. So, of course, yeah, Devin Booker is our leader. Devin Booker is our. If that's the case, why couldn't he lead a team before we got Chris Paul? Granted, he was playing with a bunch of G League players, but you get my point. Suns were garbage before we had Chris Paul. And now we're garbage ever since he left. By the way, what's up, Taj? I didn't see you here earlier. That's just how it is when you get rid of a leader. That's how important leadership is in sports in general. If you don't have a valuable leader, if you don't have a guy that can lead the pack, where's the chemistry going to be? Just from my experience of playing basketball, you always need a guy that is going to control the locker room, a guy that, sure, the head coach can do that, but you also need a player that you can, rely on vocally if you need like a little bit of, energy going into the game or anything like that. It's Suns don't have that. They just don't have that. And that is a big factor because while I don't want to say the locker room for the Suns is lost quite yet, it's trending in that direction. We obviously have the trade rumors with Nurkic, Bradley Beal. I know Bradley Beal came out and said that, I'm just going to focus on the Phoenix Suns. Today, I'm a Phoenix Sun. So, he's still taking every day as if he is a Phoenix Sun, and it's going to keep being that way. But does he really mean what he's saying? Because, if you're on the trade block, especially since being put on the bench, and listen, Bradley Beal should not complain at all. He's making $50 million a year to come off of the bench. He's making $50 million a year to be the sixth man and get less minutes than guys like Ryan Dunn and Grayson Allen occasionally. I would be if I were in his position, I would be the happiest person alive on the planet. I get to make $50 million a year to ride the bench a little bit more. Hooray. But obviously, obviously Bradley Beal probably, feels a little disrespected from that, benching him for a rookie, a second round rookie that honestly wasn't a reach for us, but there were teams that were willing to grab. Ryan Dunn has looked very good in games that he's played, especially defensively. So we have no draft picks until the 2030s. I'll probably have my own family by then. We have no draft picks until then. Cap space is not an issue with the Phoenix Suns. If we still had Robert Sarver and we had this team, then yeah, you could forget about spending any money. But Matt Ishbia is a multi-billionaire who literally quadrupled the Phoenix Suns' value ever since he bought the team. Money-wise, you don't got to worry. It's mainly just draft picks. You don't have any draft picks. You gave them all up for Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. Royce O'Neal, too, for some reason. That's kind of the weirdest part. Denali, stop it. You're not getting Devin Booker. Gosh, these Laker fans think they're getting everybody. So, but yeah, money's not an issue. So you can, and obviously if it doesn't work out, you are going to have to click the reset button, sell the pieces, and tank. I know Devin Booker says he wants to be a Phoenix Sun for life, but when it comes to rebuilding, sometimes it may not work out that way, especially in today's basketball. Players don't really spend their whole career with one team anymore. It's just not how it is anymore. So when it comes to a situation like that, especially in Devin Booker's case, Devin Booker has had a terrible year this season, at least compared to recent years. Can we get the 2021 version of Devin Booker back? That's the one that I missed the most, when he was beating the crap out of all of these rivals, like basically the owning LA teams and owning the Western Conference, scoring 40 points a game in the postseason, being an MVP candidate in 2022. Where did that Devin Booker go? You wanted this super team, Devin Booker. You wanted this to happen. You wanted a super team. If you guys go back to 2018, 2019, one of those years when we were a terrible team still, winning 20 games a year, this and that, Devin Booker wanted a super team. He wanted the super team to come to Phoenix. And he got that. He got that super team. Yeah, as of January 10th, 2025, you have that super team, or at least on paper you do. And this is how you're playing? You've completely fallen off of a cliff. After all this organization has given you, after the Supermax deal they've given you, this is how you play? This is how you lead this team? You wanted this. You made your bed and now you're lying in it. At the end of the day, this organization has done so much for Devin Booker. If they hit the reset button, the least they can do is give him to a contender that is not an LA team. So get that thought out of your head. He's not going to the Lakers. Get the hell out of here. But I digress. Is what it is. So let's talk about some of the rotation pieces that Mike Budenholzer has made. So Jusuf Nurkic has completely been removed from the rotation, and I mean completely. Yesterday against the Atlanta Hawks, he played the same amount of time as I did. 0 seconds. 0 minutes, whatever you want to even call it. Jusuf Nurkic played 0 minutes in yesterday's game against the Hawks. And I did not see it coming. I knew that he was being moved to the bench. I didn't think they were going to completely bench him, like not play him at all. Like, we're so used to guys like Bobo not playing any time whatsoever, which it's kind of funny. Despite playing 0 minutes, we still didn't see Bobo on the court, which I figured if Nurkic is playing 0 seconds a game, replace a center with another center. Put Bobo in the game. That's at least what I would think Mike Budenholzer would do. But he didn't even do that. And I thought Frank Vogel was bad when it came to not playing Bobo. Mike Budenholzer's actually worse. We haven't seen Bobo on the court. The only time we ever see him is when the game is a blowout. That's the only time we see him on the court. We don't see him in late scenarios or clutch scenarios or anything like that. He's got talent. He's got more talent than Nurkic, I'll say that. So why not play him a little bit? I was kind of surprised at that move. Nurkic playing 0 minutes. Mason Plumlee is our starting center now. So and then again, he hasn't been that great either. So let's see. What's up, Tommy? Lamb's about to join us all on the couch. I hope, dude. I don't want them winning a playoff game in Arizona. That would just be annoying. Does that mean Nurkic is getting traded? Yeah. At least I would think so. I think that would mean Nurkic is getting traded by the fall, at least, the trade deadline, which is next month. I would assume by this, the Phoenix Suns are looking at trade options now for Nurkic. So there's been rumors we would do a center swap with the Washington Wizards for Jonas Valanciunas. There used to be rumors about with Chicago for Nikola Vucevic, which we actually can't make that trade. I've been saying that these last couple episodes. It's impossible for us to make a trade with the Bulls for Vucevic due to the financial stability that both teams have. So we can't get Vucevic. So Yeah, where does Nurkic go? Well, we don't really know. Just depends on the offer that we get. I wouldn't be shocked if he was somehow involved in the 3-team trade, which is rumored for Jimmy Butler. Which brings me to my next topic and final Suns topic, because this team stinks the joint. So I talked about Bradley Beal coming off the bench a little bit earlier. So basically, since Mike Budenholzer made the decision to bring him off the bench as a sixth man, Bradley Beal has scored in the first game 23 points. In the second game, he had a rough outing. And in the third game, he scored, which was yesterday, scored 25 points off of the bench. Pretty good start considering when he was a starter, he wasn't even scoring 10 points for the first 30 games. So I would say keep Bradley Beal on the bench for now. I know the Suns are probably trying to get rid of him in a 3-team trade because, as you could read by the ticker, the Heat are not interested in Bradley Beal. Rightfully so. Rightfully so, right? I mean, I wouldn't be interested in him either if I was running a basketball team, especially if you're Pat Riley too, a knucklehead that's hard to trade with. So the Jimmy Butler rumors do continue to heat up a little bit. And there have been rumors that people are telling teams to not trade for Jimmy Butler, like the Grizzlies, Milwaukee, Golden State. They were all told to not trade for Jimmy Butler. But the only team that seems to have the realistic chance to get Jimmy Butler remains no other than our beloved Phoenix Suns. So I know Kendrick Perkins isn't reliable and he's a dummy anyway, but he said the Suns are the only team that's willing to give Jimmy Butler the lucrative extension that he wants, which is over $100 million. And then shortly after that, Arizona Sports Insider John Gambo came out and said that the Suns' max offer that they can give Jimmy Butler is a 2-year extension for $113 million. So we can't give him 121, which was the original offer that people were thinking, but we can give him a 2-year deal for $113 million. And listen, I said this: money doesn't matter for Matt Ishbia. I know Suns fans want to say Matt Ishbia ruined this team, which in some ways he did. He traded away all the championship caliber team players that we had back in 2021. We have a completely different team now compared to that finals year. Matter of fact, Devin Booker is the only player remaining from that 2021 NBA Finals season. He's the only one remaining. He's the last man standing. It's not even been 3 years yet or 4 years yet. And he's the last man standing from that NBA Finals year. Hey, that's what happens when you get new ownership, right? I pray we get new ownership for the Cardinals here soon. Same thing with the Diamondbacks. But we're never going to get it. But that's how it is when you have new ownership. Us Suns fans learned that the hard way. Now we have on paper failure of a super team, over $450 million paid team, and now we're looking at giving Jimmy Butler almost $70 million a year. Or wait, no, not 70, $60 million a year, almost, if they were to trade for him. Like I said, money's not an issue for Matt Ishbia. He's made this Phoenix Suns franchise a $1 billion franchise now. Money is not the Suns' issue anymore. I'm still getting used to an Arizona team being a very rich franchise. I'm still getting used to it. Like, I'm so used to these guys being cheapskates, this and that. Not anymore, at least in the basketball world. So get used to it. We're going to keep spending money on players that are probably not going to make the Suns team much of a difference. That's how it is when you have Matt Ishbia as your owner now. And I'm not ready to bat Matt Ishbia yet. It's only his second or third year owning this team. So I'm not gonna give him any hate yet or anything like that. At least he's trying. At least he's trying to improve this team, which is something you cannot say about any other Arizona sports owner. So I'll give him that. At least he's trying to improve this team. But other than that, is Jimmy Butler really going to save this team? In certain ways, yes. defensive wise, vocally wise, I don't want to say leader, but locker room wise, he wants to be here. Jimmy Butler wants to be in Phoenix. The reason why there's so much drama with him in Miami right now is because he wants out. He wants to be in Phoenix. Kevin Durant wants him to be in Phoenix. The ownership wants him to be in Phoenix. Jimmy Butler wants to be here. He's going to improve this team vocally, defensively, and offensively as well. But is he going to get us to where we want to be? Is one player alone, a guy who's 35 years old, getting up there in age, is he going to do it? We'll see. Well, first we got to trade for him, which probably will happen, probably won't happen. We'll see. But that is it for the Phoenix Suns, guys. And we're going to go into another break. And when we come back from the second and final break, we will talk about the Arizona Diamondbacks briefly. We'll talk about ASU football as well to close out the episode. We're almost at the 1 hour mark. So we will close it out with that. And we will wrap up episode 26. Once again, guys, you're listening to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on the defining moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
Welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So we just covered up the Phoenix Suns and the Arizona Cardinals. For those of you that are just now tuning in, basically talked about all of that. And once again, shout out to, of course, Mike with his DMV Sports. Make sure to check out his show, and go check out Larry B, our amazing CEO of the IE Sports Radio. Make sure to check his show out, The Defining Moment. Man, shout out to Larry B, man. I respect the hell out of you, man, for allowing me to be on here every week. Really appreciate you, man. And of course, all of IE Sports Radio as well. Really do appreciate it. But so let's get to the Arizona Diamondbacks. So we're going to talk. This is a short topic. Obviously, we're still in the off season. We have already covered a bunch of what's the word? Basically, the Corbin Burns signing. The Diamondbacks have picked up some depth pieces, but nothing that's major that's going to impact the team. Let me get to the chat real quick. It's mainly just Denali, but let me get to it anyway. Not AZ related. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. Well, Ohio State's got to win today first. That's number one. Okay, maybe they did win. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. I mean, hey, after watching Notre Dame against Penn State the other day, it's pretty obvious whoever won that game was going to lose to Ohio State in the championship game. So that's my thoughts on that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, maybe they did win. All right. Ohio State and Notre Dame. I did not see that championship game coming at all. That's going to be very interesting, and I'm definitely going to watch it. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. But the Diamondbacks have re-signed a bunch of players for this upcoming season to avoid arbitration. So a lot of these guys we did need to bring back and not mess around with in arbitration, that's for sure. So I'll go in order from highest paid amount to lowest paid amount. So the Diamondbacks have avoided arbitration with the following players. They've given Zach Gallen $13.5 million. He is a free agent after this year, by the way, so we also have to worry about extending him long term if he has a bounce back year. Josh Naylor for $10.9 million, who's also on a contract year, so you got to worry about paying him as well. Ryan Thompson for $2.9 million, a guy who kind of had a down year, so we'll see how he bounces back. Relief pitcher AJ Puck for almost $3 million, our best reliever last year by far. Kevin Ginkel for $2.4 million, which was pretty valuable. He actually had a kind of a bumpy year last year, but he closed out the season pretty good, so it'll be nice to see how he bounces back. Relief pitcher Joe Mantiply for $1.7 million. Always good to have a left-hander in your bullpen, especially a guy like Joe Mantiply. Very good year last season. Kyle Nelson for $825,000, which he missed the majority of the year last season due to injury, so it's nice to see him back on the Diamondbacks. Shortstop Geraldo Perdomo for $2.55 million. So this was Perdomo's first year in the arbitration talks, but Diamondbacks settled it with him. Our star shortstop will be back next season. And of course, first baseman Pavin Smith for $1.5 million. So I know I named a lot of players there. Pretty much all those guys were important. We were able to bring back the crew without going into arbitration against them. So those guys are back. A lot of them were pitchers too, so it was very good. Even though our pitching was bottom 5 last year in the MLB, it's nice to get them back. Hopefully they kind of have a bounce back year. Obviously, we were top ranking in every other category except pitching, which is why we ended up missing the playoffs. So it is what it is. But with that being said, very important to bring those guys back. Very important. Shout out to the Diamondbacks. Hopefully, Mike Hazen, can you maybe pull off another move? Can you maybe, I don't know, maybe go after Roki Sasaki, please? It would be a great way to close out the offseason as we get, I think we're 70 days away from opening day, so a little over 2 months. Spring training is right around the corner as well. I will be watching those games because the Diamondbacks are probably the best Arizona sports team that we have right now that, isn't college. So that is professional only, which isn't saying much. But speaking of college, let's close this episode out with some very, very good news. Arizona State football coming off of a brutal loss against Texas. I talked about that last week. Very, very, very brutal loss. And it sucks. But we're going into the offseason with some very good news. Sam Levitt, I did talk about this a little bit last season. There was a rumor that Oregon was trying to take Sam Levitt for us, and they were offering $5 million to get Sam Levitt from ASU to become Oregon's next quarterback because Dylan Gabriel is going to the NFL. So Oregon does need a quarterback, and they were interested in Sam Levitt, who is will be a sophomore next season, was a freshman this year, and led Arizona State to the Big 12 championship and the playoffs. So, but Jordan Tyson, star wide receiver, is also coming back. I did not think he was going to come back. I thought he was going to declare for the draft. But obviously, I feel like Jordan Tyson thinks that ASU has some unfinished business here. They should have beaten Texas. They should have beaten Texas. They should be playing right now against Ohio State, but it is what it is. Jordan Tyson didn't even play because of the fact that he was injured. So it kind of sucks we didn't see Jordan Tyson in the playoffs. It really would have made a big difference, but because he didn't play in the college football playoffs, he's probably like, you know what? Let me come back. Let's run it back with ASU. We're going to go back to the playoffs. This time I will be healthy and I will deliver for ASU. That's the way I see it going into bringing him back. Very, very big news. We have our star wide receiver back. ASU is going to need all the offensive power that they can get back, especially with Cam Scatabo declaring for the NFL draft. Best of luck to him wherever he ends up. Hopefully a future Cardinal. That would be amazing. Him and James Conner in the backfield. That would be amazing. But we'll see how where he ends up, and we'll see how this ASU team does in the offseason with recruitment and with the transfers, this and that. It's going to be very big for us, and it's going to be interesting to see what we do. But anyway, guys, that is a wrap on episode 26. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I do apologize for going live a lot later than I should be going live. It is what it is. I actually had terrible internet today. I don't know if my screen has been buffering when I've been live today. If it has, then it is what it is. Denali, you know what? Even though I don't like cursing on the podcast, I'll say it. Actually, no, I'm not going to say it. Screw Texas. How about that? I'll say screw Texas. There we go. We're beating ASU, even though they got lucky. But with that being said, guys, really do appreciate you guys for stopping by for episode 26. We will be back at it next Friday. The time will be to be determined. It is what it is. I will try to go live somewhat a little bit on time. Once again, appreciate it. Once again, my prayers are up for the people in LA. I know it's rough out there right now with the fires and everything like that. But Rams, even though you're playing in our stadium, I still will be rooting against you, against the Vikings. Go Minnesota. Please beat the Vikings. And besides the Rams, guys, best of luck to everybody's teams that are in the playoffs. I will be watching the NFL playoffs quite a lot because I am a football fan, even though my team is not in it. We will be back next week to talk about the Phoenix Suns and how they improved or disimprove, whatever you want to call it, next week. We'll talk a little bit about the Diamondbacks, if they make any more moves, and of course ASU, the program's still going strong. And of course, if any Arizona Cardinals news breaks out, we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Once again, guys, I go live every Friday. Should be 1 o'clock, but sometimes I will go live. But I guarantee you guys, it's every Friday I will be live, so stay tuned for next episode. On 27, it has officially been 6 months since I joined the IE Sports Radio, so I've been here for half a year. Once again, shout out to Larry B for giving me an opportunity to be here every week with you fine people. Really appreciate it, guys. We will be back next Friday to talk Arizona sports once again for episode 27. Stay tuned. Have a blessed weekend, guys. Make sure to stay safe. And go Arizona sports. See you guys next Friday. Peace out.